Maids quit within 24 hours because of the millionaire's 11 daughters, until a janitor shocked the family. Sound of breaking glass again at Meadowbrook Farm at 6:47 a.m. Celeste Davenport was in her house's kitchen, blonde hair in a messy ponytail, still wearing yesterday's royal blue blazer over denim shorts, wondering if she had lost her mind 2 years ago when she adopted 11 girls. "Emma, give Madison's doll back," Celeste shouted toward the living room. She started it. Came the defiant response from 9-year-old Emma. Through the window, the Tennessee hills gleamed golden with sunrise. The stables were empty. The garden was overgrown with weeds. Everything was falling apart. Her phone rang. Mrs. Patterson, the 23rd nanny, asking to resign. "I'm sorry, Miss Davenport, they put detergent in my shampoo. I found a frog in my bed. I want my resignation immediately." Celeste closed her eyes and counted to 10. "Girls," she called. "Living room, now, family meeting." The chaos didn't diminish. Celeste entered and stopped suddenly. The girls had built a fortress using every piece of furniture. Sofa cushions formed walls, blankets covered chairs. The coffee table was upside down. 11 girls from 4 to 12 years old were certain she would give up. Mrs. Patterson resigned. "What do you have to say?" "Great," Emma said, crossing her arms. "She was mean anyway. She called me stupid," 7-year-old Sophia added. "She did what?" "When I couldn't read the difficult words." Anger and guilt flooded Celeste. How had she not known this? "You're not stupid," Celeste said firmly, kneeling down. "You're brilliant. Mrs. Patterson was wrong. Are you going to send us back?" 12-year-old Olivia asked the question the others feared. "Never," Celeste said, looking each girl in the eyes. "I chose you. All of you. We're a family. Families don't give up." "Then why do all the nannies give up?" 6-year-old Lily asked. "Because I have no idea what I'm doing," Celeste said. "Because we haven't found the right person yet." Her phone rang. The employment agency. "Miss Davenport, I've exhausted our database," Mrs. Chen said wearily. "But I have an unusual candidate. A janitor, single father. He saw your ad and called directly. Says he's willing to live on site. His references are impeccable. The principal at Jackson Elementary School says he's the most trustworthy person she's ever employed. Patient, kind, excellent with children. Send him over," Celeste said. "Today. He can be there in an hour. Ryan Walker. Oh, he'll be bringing his daughter. 7 years old. Part of the package." Celeste hung up and looked at her girls. "We have a visitor coming. A potential helper. I need all of you to behave the best you possibly can." "Will he give up too?" Emma asked. "I don't know, sweetheart. But let's give him a chance, okay?" An hour later, a blue Harley-Davidson rumbled up the driveway. The motorcyclist was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a white t-shirt and jeans. When he removed his helmet, Celeste saw dark hair, strong features, and intelligent eyes. A blonde little girl dismounted behind him wearing a yellow dress and white sneakers, completely comfortable on the large motorcycle. "Miss Davenport, I'm Ryan Walker. This is Hannah Bell." His voice was deep with a slight southern accent. His handshake was firm, calloused. "Call me Celeste," she said. "Thank you for coming." Hannah looked up with eyes that seemed much older than 7 years. "You have 11 daughters. That's a lot, but also wonderful. Statistically, larger families report higher levels of overall life satisfaction." Celeste blinked. "Did you just—" "Hannah reads a lot," Ryan said with a smile. "She's advanced." "I'm gifted," Hannah stated simply. "IQ 156. But Daddy says that's just a number and what matters is being kind." Before Celeste could respond, the front door burst open, and 11 girls tumbled onto the porch in chaos. "She took my—" "I didn't. Mom, tell her." Ryan didn't flinch. He knelt to eye level and said calmly, "Hi, I'm Ryan. This is Hannah. We heard there might be some interesting people here. Is that you?" The girls stopped mid-argument. "I bet each of you has something unique," Ryan continued. "Hannah can tell you what hers is." Hannah stepped forward. "I can recite pi to 100 decimal places and identify 127 bird species by their songs. And I'm very good at puzzles." She looked at Emma. "You're the oldest. You have that look. The one that says you've had to take care of people. That's a superpower. Leadership." Emma's defiant expression flickered with surprise. Hannah went down the line, finding something specific for each girl. Not generic compliments, but real observations. "Why don't we sit down and talk?" Ryan suggested. I'd like to hear about this farm and what you girls like to do. Impossibly, they all migrated to the porch. The girls arranged themselves, less chaotic than Celeste had seen them in weeks. Ryan began asking questions, real questions, and listened to each answer. Celeste found herself sitting on the porch swing, watching this stranger somehow tame her wild household with nothing but genuine interest and respect. "My daddy can fix anything," Hannah announced. "Motorcycles, cars, fences, pipes. He says every problem has a solution." "Is that what you do?" Olivia asked Ryan. "Fix things. I'm a janitor at a school, but I work and help neighbors with repairs. I grew up on a farm like this. My grandfather taught me that honest good work is something to be proud of." "Were you rich or poor?" Emma asked bluntly. "Emma," Celeste started, but Ryan raised his hand. "Fair question. We were probably what most would call poor, but my grandfather would say we were rich in what mattered. Food, a roof, people who loved us. I wear secondhand clothes and ride a 20-year-old motorcycle, but I've never felt poor because I have Hannah." Hannah beamed. "I like you," 4-year-old Mia announced, climbing into Ryan's lap. "You smell like cinnamon." Ryan laughed. "That's Hannah's doing. She insisted on making cinnamon rolls this morning." "You can cook?" Celeste asked. "Barely, but I'm learning. When my wife died 3 years ago, it was either learn or feed Hannah takeout every night." The openness of his pain, stated simply, made the moment powerful. Several girls exchanged glances. They understood loss. "I'm sorry," Celeste said softly. "Thank you, it was a car accident, sudden, but we're okay now, aren't we, Hannah-Belle?" "We're more than okay," Hannah said firmly. "We're a team. So here's my proposal," Ryan said. "You need help. I need a job that lets me bring Hannah. This farm is deteriorating. I can see the fence line falling, the stables need work, your garden is overgrown, the barn roof has missing shingles. Are you offering to be a farmhand or a nanny?" Celeste asked. "Both, neither, whatever you need. Hannah and I don't require much. A place to stay, fair wages, and the chance to be part of something good. I'm very organized," Hannah added. Celeste looked at the 11 girls watching her with hope and skepticism, looked at Ryan with his honest eyes, at Hannah with her wisdom. Every logical part said this was insane. You don't hire a janitor without childcare credentials. You don't invite strangers to live on your property. But her heart, the same heart that impulsively adopted 11 girls, said something different. The cabin beyond the barn, small but solid. 2 bedrooms, kitchen, bathroom. You and Hannah could have that. Meals in the main house. "I accept," Ryan said immediately. "Whatever you think is fair. When can we start?" "You haven't even seen it yet. I've seen what matters. 12 people who need help. A farm with good foundations. A chance to do important work while keeping my daughter with me." Celeste was moved by this. "Today? Now? A little crazy?" Ryan smiled. "But sometimes the best things are." "Yes!" Several of the girls shouted, making everyone jump. "Does this mean Hannah will live here?" Sophia asked hopefully. "Looks like it," Hannah said, smiling. "If that's okay with you all." The girls erupted in celebration, and just like that, Celeste's household of 12 became 14. The cabin was worse than Celeste remembered. Dust everywhere, dirty windows, an old refrigerator humming ominously. "It's perfect," Ryan said. "It's a disaster," Celeste countered. "It has potential," Hannah said. "We've lived in worse. Much smaller," Hannah agreed. "I'll help clean," Celeste offered. "You don't need to. You have your hands full. Hannah and I are professionals. We'll have this livable by evening." Celeste returned to find the girls arguing about which of them would share rooms with Hannah. "Maybe I should get to know all of you first," Hannah suggested calmly. "Individually, before we decide?" The girls stopped arguing. "That's really smart," Emma admitted. In the following hours, Celeste watched Hannah conduct getting-to-know-you interviews with each girl. She sat with them individually, asking thoughtful questions and listening. Celeste, watching from inside while trying to prepare lunch, was amazed by the 7-year-old's emotional intelligence. With Emma, it must be hard being the oldest sometimes. Everyone expects you to have all the answers. With Sophia, reading is just looking at scribbles until they make sense. Some people's brains need more time with the scribbles. That doesn't make them stupid. With Lily, I sucked my thumb too, until I was 6. Daddy said I'd stop when I was ready and I did. There's no rush. By lunchtime, even the most resistant girls were enchanted. Lunch itself was chaos. Celeste had made sandwiches. Simple, hard to mess up. But 12 people eating together was like conducting an orchestra, where each musician was playing a different song. Ryan appeared at the back door, covered in dust, just as Celeste was finishing up an argument about who would get the last cookie. "Hannah Bell, lunch," he called. "Coming." Hannah extracted herself from a conversation with Ava about painting techniques and skipped to the door. "You don't have to eat separately," Celeste said impulsively. "There's plenty. Join us." Ryan hesitated, looking at the crowded table, the noise, the barely controlled chaos. "Please," Celeste added. "I insist." So Ryan and Hannah joined them, squeezing into spots at the long farmhouse table. And somehow, miraculously, the energy shifted. Ryan's calm presence seemed to settle something. He didn't try to control the chaos, just existed peacefully within it, answering questions about his motorcycle, about his work, about growing up on a farm. "Did you have horses?" Madison asked eagerly. "3, Ryan said. "Clover, Daisy, and a grumpy old gelding named Brutus who only liked my grandfather. We have horses here," Madison continued excitedly. "At least we had them, before Mom got us. Now they're at a neighbor's farm because nobody has time to care for them." Celeste felt a pang of guilt. The horses, her father's pride and joy, boarded out because she couldn't manage them along with everything else. "Maybe we could bring them back," Ryan said thoughtfully. "If Miss Celeste agrees. I'm good with horses, and I bet some of you would like to learn to ride." "Really?" multiple voices asked at once. "Let's see how the next few days go," Celeste said quickly, overwhelmed by the sudden hope in her daughter's faces. "But maybe, yes, maybe." After lunch, Ryan returned to work on the cabin. Hannah asked if she could stay with the girls and Celeste agreed, curious to see what would happen. What happened was extraordinary. Hannah, with the direct logic of a gifted 7-year-old, simply started organizing things. She saw the mess of the toy room and said, "This would be easier if we had a system." She convinced the girls to separate toys by type. She created a schedule for who could choose the movie on which night. She mediated disputes not by taking sides, but by asking questions. "Why do you think she did that? How did it make you feel? What do you need to feel better?" By dinner time, the house was not quiet, but definitely calmer, and Celeste realized she hadn't broken up a single fight in 4 hours. "Your daughter is remarkable," she told Ryan when he came to the house that evening, clean and looking satisfied with the day's work. "She is," Ryan agreed without false modesty. "She's also exhausting. That brain of hers never stops, but she has a good heart to go with it." "The cabin? Livable, clean at least. We'll need some furniture eventually, but we have sleeping bags for now. It'll do." "Ryan, there are beds in the storage barn, chairs, a table. My father kept everything. Please use whatever you need." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." That night, lying in bed, Celeste heard the unusual sound of peace in her house. The girls had gone to bed without any stress. Hannah had told everyone a story about a princess who adopted a dragon. The allegory wasn't subtle, but the girls had loved it. Maybe, Celeste thought, just maybe this crazy idea was going to work. The next morning, Celeste woke to the smell of coffee. Not her coffee. She hadn't programmed the coffee maker timer. Someone else's coffee. She stumbled downstairs to find Ryan in her kitchen, already dressed in blue work clothes and yellow gloves, a fresh pot brewing coffee. "I hope you don't mind," he said when he saw her. "I'm an early riser. Thought I'd start on the fence line. Wanted to caffeinate first." "You're in my kitchen at 5:30 in the morning making coffee," Celeste said. "Yeah, is that not okay? I can go back to the cabin if—" "It's more than okay," Celeste interrupted. "It's the most beautiful thing I've seen in months. Is there enough for 2? Ryan smiled and poured a cup for her. They sat at the kitchen table as dawn broke over the farm, 2 strangers drinking coffee in comfortable silence. Outside, the Tennessee hills turned pink with sunrise. Inside, 12 girls still slept. "Can I ask you something?" Ryan said. "Sure. Why 11? Why not 1 or 2? Most people who adopt don't. I mean, go completely crazy and adopt almost a dozen children in 2 years?" Celeste finished. "Honestly, I don't have a good answer. I inherited this farm when my father died. I was 23, fresh out of business school, and suddenly managing a property I barely knew how to run. I was lonely. The house felt empty, so I started volunteering at the children's shelter in Nashville. She paused, remembering. Emma was the first. She was 10, had been in the system since she was 6. Nobody wanted her, because she was too old and too difficult. But I saw this spark in her, this fire. So I adopted her. Then I met Olivia at the same shelter. Then Sophia. And I kept thinking, why should I save just one when I have this big empty house and all this space? So you saved them all, Ryan said softly. I didn't save anyone, Celeste said. That's the problem. I thought love would be enough. But they needed structure and stability, and someone who actually knew what they were doing. Instead, they got me, a 25-year-old who can run a business but can't keep her own house from collapsing. You're doing better than you think. 23 nannies have resigned, Ryan, 23. Because they were wrong for the job, not because you failed. He met her eyes. These girls are traumatized. They've been rejected, moved around, told their problems. Of course they're going to test boundaries. Of course they're going to push away anyone who might leave them. That's not your fault, it's them trying to survive. Celeste cried and tears fell from her eyes. That's what the therapist said. You got them a therapist, that's good. She also resigned. Ryan laughed. Okay, that's really impressive. Most kids can't make therapists resign. I'm raising supervillains, Celeste said, but she was smiling. You're raising survivors, Ryan corrected. There's a difference. They were silent for a moment, then Ryan stood up. I should get to work. Those fences won't fix themselves. Hannah will wake up in about an hour. She'll probably want to help with the girls' breakfast. Ryan, thank you for giving us a chance. Thank you for giving Hannah and me a chance. Single father janitor isn't usually at the top of the hiring list. After Ryan left, Celeste sat alone with her coffee, watching the sun rise higher, and felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope and peace. Silence. Precisely 1 week later, Celeste had to admit that her impulsive decision to hire Ryan Walker was possibly the best choice she'd made since starting this whole adoption journey. The change was dramatic. The girls still fought, but less. And when they fought, Hannah would appear and somehow dissolve the situation with logic that was hard to argue with. The house was still chaotic, but the chaos had structure now. Chore charts appeared on the refrigerator, created by Hannah and accepted by the girls because Hannah explained the game theory behind fair work distribution. If we all do a little, Hannah explained to a skeptical Emma, nobody has to do a lot. But if some people don't do anything, other people have to do too much. And then those people get resentful, and then the system breaks down. It's basic social cooperation theory. She's 7 years old, Emma told Celeste later. How does she know these things? Gift, Celeste said. But mostly gift. Ryan was everywhere and nowhere. He worked quietly, fixing things Celeste hadn't even noticed were broken. The fence line, the barn door, the leaking pipe in the upstairs bathroom, the loose porch boards. He worked and somehow all 11 girls ended up clustered around him, asking questions, passing him tools. They're treating you like the Pied Piper, Celeste observed one evening, watching from the porch as Ryan patiently explained combustion engines to a fascinated audience. They're curious, Ryan said. Kids always are when you take them seriously. You're good with them. On Friday night of that first week, Ryan knocked on Celeste's office door. She looked up from the paperwork she was pretending to focus on. Got a minute? He asked. Sure. Ryan entered, and for the first time he looked uncertain. I wanted to propose something to you. An idea. You can say no. Okay. The girls need purpose. A project. Something they can work on together that's theirs. He paused. I was thinking we could clean out that old greenhouse behind the barn. Turn it into something. A garden project, maybe. Each girl gets a section, they choose what to grow. They're responsible for it. Celeste blinked. That's really brilliant. And Hannah, Ryan was quiet for a moment. She loves it here, having siblings, even temporary ones. She's an only child. Always wanted a big family. Temporary? I don't know what our long-term arrangement is, Ryan said carefully. I'm employed by you. That could change. I don't want her to get too attached if… Ryan, Celeste interrupted. I'm not going to fire you, unless you want to leave. I don't want to. Then stop worrying. You and Hannah are part of this mess now. Something in Ryan's expression changed, softened. Thank you. Thank you for everything, I mean it. After Ryan left, Celeste leaned back in her chair, thinking about the last 7 days, about how the house felt different, about how she felt different. She had hired a janitor out of desperation, but she was beginning to realize she might have found something entirely different, a partner in this impossible task of raising 11 girls who deserved better than the world had given them so far. The greenhouse project became the thing that united the household. For 2 weeks, everyone worked together to clean out years of neglect. Ryan handled the heavy work. Celeste organized supplies. Hannah created detailed plans for garden sections, and the 11 girls found something they'd been missing, a common goal. Even Emma, the most resistant, became invested when Ryan suggested she could grow her own tomatoes. "Why tomatoes?" Celeste asked Emma one evening. "Because Dad, my real dad, used to grow them. Before." Emma's voice faded. "Before," Celeste finished gently. She knew Emma's story. Father died in military service. Mother couldn't cope, fell into addiction. Emma into the system at 6 years old. "I want to remember him," Emma said quietly. "Ryan says that growing something your parents loved is like keeping them alive in a way." Celeste found Ryan that evening, sitting on the cabin porch, reading while Hannah did homework inside. "You told Emma about connecting with lost parents through gardening," she said. Ryan looked up. "Yes, was that overstepping? I know their stories are complicated." "No," Celeste interrupted. "It was exactly right. Thank you." Ryan put down his book. "My grandfather died when I was 13. He taught me everything about farming, fixing things, being a man. When he died, I thought I'd lose all those lessons. But my father said that every time I fixed something, every time I worked with my hands the way Grandpa taught me, I was keeping him alive. It helped. That's beautiful. That's family. The good ones live on in what they taught us." Celeste sat on the porch steps uninvited. They were doing this more often, finding moments to talk while the kids were occupied, small conversations that felt bigger than they should. "My father taught me to be strong," Celeste said. "He built this farm from nothing, created an empire. I was his only daughter, so he raised me to be tough, independent. But I don't think he taught me how to be soft, how to be vulnerable, how to let people in." "Is that why you adopted 11 girls?" Ryan asked gently. "To learn? Maybe. I don't know. The therapist, before she resigned, said I was trying to create the big, chaotic, loving family I never had, that it was a reaction to being a lonely only child of a workaholic father. Was she right? Probably. I was lonely. The farm is huge but empty. I had everything and nothing, you know." "I don't know, actually," Ryan said. "I never had everything. But I understand. When Sarah died, my wife, I had Hannah and that was it. Everyone else disappeared. Sarah's family blamed me for the accident even though I wasn't driving. My friends didn't know how to deal with a widower with a child. That must have been hard. And easy. Simple, at least. 2 people, clear roles, basic needs. This?" He gestured to the farm, the main house full of noise. "This is complicated. But complication has its own kind of beauty." Celeste felt something warm spread through her chest. "You have the soul of a poet, Ryan Walker. Soul of a janitor," he corrected with a smile. "But I read a lot." From inside the cabin, Hannah's voice called, "Daddy, I need help with this math problem." "Duty calls," Ryan said, standing up. "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm okay. Ryan, you and Hannah being here is the best decision I've made in a long time." Celeste sat alone on the porch steps, listening to the evening sounds of her farm. From the main house, she could hear the girls getting ready for bed. From the cabin, the low murmur of Ryan helping Hannah with homework. From the fields, the sound of crickets and distant cows. For the first time since her father died, the farm didn't feel empty. It felt full. 3 weeks after Ryan and Hannah's arrival, the greenhouse was ready. 22 sections, each girl receiving 2 to handle different plants, all carefully measured by Hannah to be exactly equal. "Fairness is crucial for reducing conflicts," Hannah explained to a perplexed Celeste. "If someone thinks they got less, they'll focus on that, instead of growing things." "You're scary," Celeste said, but she was smiling. "I'm efficient," Hannah corrected. Planting day became a celebration. Ryan went to town and came back with seedlings. Seeds, small tools for small hands. He had spent his own money, he admitted when Celeste tried to reimburse him. "Consider it an investment," he said, "in their future." Each girl chose what to plant. Emma, her tomatoes. Sophia, Sunflowers because they made her happy. Lily, strawberries because they were sweet like her. Madison, carrots because they were her favorite food. Ava, flowers to paint. Olivia, herbs because she liked to cook. Hannah chose snap peas. They grow fast, she explained. I'm impatient. Celeste chose lavender, though she wasn't sure why until Ryan said, for peace, good choice. Ryan didn't plant anything. I'll help everyone else, he said. That's my job. What about you? Emma challenged. Don't you want to grow something? Ryan looked at all of them. 12 girls and 1 woman covered in dirt, laughing and working together. I am, he said simply. This is what I'm growing. Celeste felt her throat tighten with emotion. That night, after everyone was in bed, she found Ryan sitting on the main house porch looking at the stars. Can't sleep? She asked, joining him. Thinking, he said. About how a month ago, Hannah and I were alone in a 1-bedroom apartment. I was working 2 jobs to pay rent. She was in after-school activities until 7 p.m. every night. And now we're here. This feels too good to be real. It's real, Celeste said. I promise. Week 5 brought the first real test. Madison got sick. High fever, couldn't keep anything down, lethargic in a way that terrified Celeste. She rushed Madison to the emergency room at 2 a.m., leaving a hastily scribbled note for Ryan in the still sleeping house. At 6 a.m., Ryan found her in the hospital waiting room. Madison finally sleeping after IV fluids and medication. How did you? Celeste started. Hannah woke me up. She heard your car leave. I called the hospital. Ryan sat beside her, calm. How is she? Severe stomach flu. They want to keep her for observation. She's okay, but... Celeste's voice cracked. I was so scared. Of course you were. She's your daughter. They're all my daughters. What if something happens to one of them? What if I can't protect them? What if... Ryan took her hand. It was the first time he'd touched her beyond a handshake, and the warmth of his calloused palm against hers was surprising. You can't protect them from everything, he said gently. Nobody can. But you can love them and get help when they need it, which is exactly what you did. You're a good mother, Celeste. I don't feel like a good mother. Good mothers never do. They always think they're not enough. That's what makes them good. They keep trying to be better. Celeste leaned on his shoulder without thinking, exhausted and overwhelmed. Ryan didn't pull away. He stayed there, steady, while she fell apart a little. I've got the girls, he said after a while. Hannah's in charge. They're fine. I'll bring you coffee and a change of clothes in a few hours. You don't need to. Yes, I do. We're a team, remember? When had they become a team? Celeste couldn't pinpoint the moment, but somewhere between fixing fences and planting gardens and midnight conversations on porches, Ryan Walker had become her partner in this impossible task of raising 12 girls. Madison recovered. The house returned to its normal chaos. But something had changed between Celeste and Ryan. They were more comfortable with each other. The girls noticed. Of course they noticed. Are you and Ryan going to get married? Mia asked one morning at breakfast, loud enough for the entire table to hear. Celeste choked on her coffee. Mia! Olivia hissed. You can't just ask that. Why not? Mia asked innocently. They like each other. They smile all the time when they talk. And Ryan fixed Mom's favorite bench without her asking. That's love stuff. We're not. Celeste started, face burning. Ryan is my employee. That's inappropriate. But you like him, Emma said, studying Celeste with knowing eyes. It's obvious. We're friends. That's all. Sure, Emma said, in the tone of someone who didn't believe a word. Celeste changed the subject, but the conversation stayed on her mind. Did she like Ryan? Beyond friendly employer-employee appreciation? The answer, if she was honest, was yes. She liked his steady presence, his quiet competence, the way he treated her girls with respect and kindness, the way he looked at her sometimes as if she were more than just his boss, as if she were something precious. But acting on it was complicated. He worked for her. Power dynamics were tricky, and she had enough complications without adding romance to the mix. So she did nothing, pushed the feelings down, focused on the girls and the farm and all the practical things that needed attention. Ryan seemed to be doing the same, until the night of the storm. The storm came without warning, one of those sudden Tennessee storms that turned the sky black and the rain horizontal. Celeste was in the main house checking on the girls, Several were afraid of thunder when the power went out. "It's okay," she called over the sound of anxious voices. "We have flashlights. Hannah, where?" "Already on it." Hannah appeared with an armload of flashlights, distributing them with practiced efficiency. The lights flickered back on. "Generator," Celeste realized with relief. Then she remembered. Ryan was working on the barn roof, in the storm. She grabbed a raincoat and ran outside into the torrential rain, ignoring Hannah's shout of protest. The barn was dark, except for flashes of lightning. "Ryan," she called. No answer. She climbed the ladder to the hayloft where roof access was. "Ryan, up here." His voice came from above. She found him on the roof, soaked and trying to secure a loose section of metal sheeting that was banging dangerously in the wind. "What are you doing?" Celeste shouted over the storm. "Keeping it from flying off and hitting someone." Ryan shouted back, "Get down, it's not worth. I almost got it." A gust of wind caught the metal sheeting. Ryan lunged to grab it, lost his balance on the wet roof, and started to slide. Celeste's heart stopped. Ryan grabbed onto a roof beam, barely, his legs dangling over the edge. "Don't move," Celeste shouted. She crawled up, reaching for him. "Give me your hand." "I'm too heavy, we'll both fall." "Give me your hand!" Ryan grabbed her outstretched hand. Celeste braced herself against the roof beam and pulled with everything she had. For one terrifying moment, she thought they'd both fall. Then Ryan got his other hand on the beam. He pulled himself up. They collapsed together on the wet roof, both breathing hard. "You almost died," Celeste said, her voice shaking. "I'm fine. You could have fallen, but I didn't, because I—" She stopped, suddenly aware of how close they were, rain streaming down both their faces, his hand still gripping hers. "You saved me," Ryan said softly. Ryan's eyes widened. Even in the darkness and rain, she could see his expression change. "Celeste, we should get inside," she said quickly, pulling away. Before the girls panic, they climbed down in silence, walked back to the main house without speaking, the rain still falling. Inside, chaos. All 11 girls talking at once, Hannah trying to calm everyone down, questions flying. "We're fine," Celeste assured them. "Everything's okay." But it wasn't okay. Something had changed on that roof, something neither of them could take back. That night, after the girls were finally settled, after Ryan had retreated to his cabin, Celeste lay awake thinking about the moment when she had reached for him, about the terror she felt thinking of losing him. This wasn't just about keeping a good employee. This was about love. Her phone vibrated. A message from Ryan. "Thank you for earlier. I owe you my life." She stared at the message for a long time before responding. "We're even. You saved mine first. Just took me longer to realize it." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "We should talk. Tomorrow." Celeste's heart pounded. Tomorrow. She put down the phone and stared at the ceiling, wondering what tomorrow would bring, wondering if she was brave enough to admit what she was feeling, wondering if Ryan was feeling it too. Outside, the storm continued. Inside, everything was changing. Morning came too fast and too slow. Celeste was awake before dawn, nervous in a way she hadn't been since her first business presentation. This was different. This mattered more. She found Ryan already in the kitchen, making coffee as always. But today there was tension in his shoulders. He'd felt it too. The shift. "Hi," she said. "Hi." He poured a cup for her without asking. They knew each other's coffee preferences now. Cream, no sugar for her. Black for him. They sat at the kitchen table. The house was still quiet, the girls still sleeping. "About last night," both started simultaneously, nervous laughter. "You first," Celeste said. Ryan took a deep breath. "I think I've been fooling myself, telling myself I'm just your employee, that this is just a job, but it's not. Not anymore. Maybe it never was." Celeste's heart raced. "I look forward to seeing you every morning," Ryan continued. "I think about you when I'm working. I find excuses to be near you. And last night when I thought I might fall, the first thing I thought wasn't about dying. It was about not being able to see you again. Ryan, I know this is complicated," he continued quickly. "I know I work for you and there are power dynamics, and it's probably totally inappropriate, but I can't keep pretending I don't feel." Celeste kissed him. It was impulsive, probably stupid, Definitely complicated, but she kissed him, and he kissed her back, and for a moment everything else disappeared. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, Ryan whispered, "So you feel it too?" "Yes," Celeste admitted. "I do. Have for a while. Just didn't want to admit it because it's so complicated and we have 12 children to think about," Ryan finished. 13, Celeste corrected. "Hannah counts." 13, Ryan agreed with a soft smile. "That's a lot of people to consider. We should be smart about this," Celeste said, even as her hand found his across the table. "Go slow. Figure out what this is before we tell the girls." Agreed. Slow. They looked at each other, both thinking the same thing. Nothing about their lives was slow. They'd met 6 weeks ago and he'd already become essential to her existence. "We're terrible at slow," Celeste said. "The worst," Ryan agreed. They kissed again, slower this time, and Celeste felt something settle in her chest. This was right. Complicated and messy and probably insane, but right. "Mom," Emma's voice came from upstairs. "Are you making pancakes?" They pulled apart like guilty teenagers. "In a minute," Celeste called back, then looked at Ryan. "Pancakes? I'll help," he said, standing up. Partners. Partners. That's what they were. In parenting and running the farm, and now, maybe in something more. Week 7 brought an unexpected visitor, a social worker from the adoption agency, arriving unannounced to check on the girls' welfare. Mrs. Harrison was a stern woman in her 50s with a clipboard and a skeptical expression. Celeste's heart sank when she saw her. These visits were supposed to be routine, but always felt like judgments. "Miss Davenport," Mrs. Harrison said, "I'm here for the quarterly assessment. I'll need to speak with each child individually and evaluate living conditions." "Of course," Celeste said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Whatever you need." Mrs. Harrison spent 3 hours on the farm. She inspected the bedrooms, kitchen, bathrooms. She interviewed each girl separately. She reviewed medical records, school enrollment papers, therapy reports. Ryan kept the girls occupied outside, showing them his motorcycle maintenance, while Celeste paced nervously in the kitchen. Finally, Mrs. Harrison returned to the house. Her expression was unreadable. "Miss Davenport, I need to speak with you privately." Celeste's stomach dropped. This was it. They were going to take the girls away. She had failed them. "The reports I've received," Mrs. Harrison began, sitting at the kitchen table, "have been concerning. Multiple nannies resigning, behavioral problems, educational disruptions. Frankly, we've been questioning whether this placement is appropriate for so many children." "Please," Celeste said, her voice breaking. "Don't take them. I know it's been hard, but things are better now. We have help. Ryan is—" "Miss Davenport," Mrs. Harrison raised her hand. "I'm not here to remove the children." Celeste stopped mid-plea. "You're not?" "No. I'm here to say this is the most remarkable turnaround I've seen in 20 years of social work." Mrs. Harrison's stern expression softened slightly. "These girls are thriving. Each one told me they're happy. They feel safe. They feel loved. Even Emma, who's been in 5 homes before this, said she never wants to leave." Celeste couldn't hold back the tears that sprang to her eyes. "What changed?" Mrs. Harrison asked. 6 weeks ago, my report said this placement was on the verge of failure. Now it's exemplary. What did you do differently?" "I hired help," Celeste admitted. "Ryan Walker. He's a janitor and single father. Lives on the property with his daughter and helps with the farm and the girls." Mrs. Harrison made a note. "I'd like to meet him." Ryan was summoned. He entered the kitchen still wearing his work clothes, looking nervous. "Mr. Walker," Mrs. Harrison said, "tell me about your role here." "I fix things mostly," Ryan said. "The farm, the house, and help with the girls when Miss Davenport needs it. My daughter Hannah also lives here. She's been good for the girls. Gives them someone to look up to." "Are you trained in childcare?" "No, ma'am. I'm just a father doing my best." Mrs. Harrison studied him for a long moment. "The girls speak very highly of you. Emma said you're teaching her to fix things. Sophia said you're helping her learn to read. Madison said you saved her stuffed animal when it fell in the pond. They're good kids," Ryan said simply. "They deserve people who see that." Mrs. Harrison made more notes. Finally, she looked at both of them. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. This is what success looks like. The girls have stabilized. They're bonding as sisters. They're excelling in their individual interests. Miss Davenport, you've created something special here." After Mrs. Harrison left, Celeste collapsed on the porch steps, shaking with relief. Ryan sat beside her. Are you okay? She almost took them. Celeste whispered. I could have lost all of them. But you didn't. Because you're giving them what they need. Ryan put his arm around her shoulders, a gesture that was becoming natural. You're a good mother, Celeste. Stop doubting yourself. We're good parents. Celeste corrected, leaning into him. We, not just me. Ryan kissed the top of her head. We. I like that. From inside the house, they heard Hannah's voice. Guys, stop spying on them, followed by multiple giggles and a stampede of feet. Subtle, Ryan said dryly. We should probably tell them, Celeste said. About us. They already know anyway. Family meeting, Ryan suggested. Family meeting. That evening after dinner, Celeste called everyone to the living room. 13 people crammed onto couches and floors. Hannah sat between Ryan and Celeste, looking suspicious. Are we in trouble? Lily asked nervously. No, sweetheart. Nobody's in trouble. Celeste took a deep breath. Ryan and I wanted to talk to you about something. Finally, Emma said. You're dating? Emma, Olivia hissed. What? Everyone knows they like each other. Celeste looked at Ryan. He smiled and nodded. Yes, Celeste said. Ryan and I care about each other. More than just friends. We're going to see if maybe we can be. More than that. Like boyfriend and girlfriend? Sophia asked. Like that, Ryan confirmed. Are you getting married? Mia asked immediately. Mia, multiple voices groaned. We're taking it slow, Celeste said. But we wanted all of you to know because you're the most important people in our lives. Your feelings matter. There was a pause. Then Hannah said thoughtfully, this changes our family structure. We'd need new designations. Are you still my employer, Miss Celeste? Or would you become like a stepmother to me? What do you want me to be? Celeste asked gently. Hannah considered this seriously. I like the idea of more family. I've only had Daddy. Having all these sisters and you has been, she paused, searching for words, has been the best thing ever. Me too, Madison said. Same, Emma added, trying to sound indifferent but failing. One by one, the girls expressed their approval. Some enthusiastically, some shyly, but all positively. So we're good? Ryan asked. This doesn't upset anyone? Only if you get all gross and kissy in front of us, Emma said, making a face. We'll try to control ourselves, Celeste said with a laugh. But if you get married, Mia said, Hannah would officially be our sister, right? I guess so, Hannah said, then smiled. I'd like that. Then you have to get married, Mia declared. Because Hannah needs to be official. That's not how it works, Ryan started. That's exactly how it works, Emma interrupted. Marriage makes family official. Everyone knows that. Celeste and Ryan exchanged glances. They'd been dating for approximately 10 minutes and the girls were already planning their wedding. How about we start with dating, Celeste suggested, and see where it goes? Fine, Mia said, clearly disappointed. But I'm going to be a bridesmaid. Me too, Lily chirped. Girls, Ryan said with fond exasperation. We're not, there's no wedding. Yet, Emma added with a knowing smile. Yet. Later that night, after all the girls were finally asleep, Ryan and Celeste met back on the porch. Their place now, where they could talk without an audience. That went well, Ryan said. They're planning our wedding, Celeste pointed out. In their defense, we're pretty obvious about liking each other. You think? Celeste said dryly. Ryan laughed and pulled her closer. She fit perfectly against his side. I meant it about going slow, Celeste said. Not because I doubt this, but because I want to do it right. For them, for Hannah, for us. I know. Me too. Ryan paused. But for the record, I'm already pretty sure where this is going. Oh? And where is that? Everywhere. Everything. The whole messy, complicated, beautiful future. With you. With all of them. Celeste turned to look at him. In the porch light, his eyes were soft and certain. That's a big statement, she said quietly. I'm a janitor who fixes things, Ryan said. When I see something worth keeping, I make it last. You're worth keeping, Celeste Davenport. You and your chaotic house of heartbeats. Celeste kissed him, slow and deep, and thought about how a month ago she was drowning. Now she was floating. No, flying. I love you, she said without planning, without meaning to. But the words came out anyway because they were true. Ryan's eyes widened. Then he smiled. that quiet smile that made her heart skip. "I love you too," he said. "Since about week 2, if I'm honest. When you stayed up all night with Madison at the hospital, I saw who you really are and I was lost." They sat together under the stars. Two people who had found each other against all odds and made wordless promises. To try, to work, to build something lasting from the broken pieces they'd both brought to this farm. Inside the house, 13 girls slept soundly, and girls. Outside, two people who had started as strangers became partners, became lovers, became family. And somewhere in the fields, in the greenhouse, in the carefully planted gardens, seeds were growing. Slowly, patiently, inevitably. Just like love, just like family, just like hope. The next morning, Celeste woke to the sound of chaos, but the good kind. She ran downstairs to find all 12 girls in the kitchen trying to make breakfast. "Surprise," they sang when they saw her. The kitchen was a disaster. Flour everywhere, eggs on the floor, something burning in the oven. But they had made pancakes. Crooked, burned in places, but made with love. "For you and Ryan," Olivia explained. "Because you're together now and we wanted to celebrate." Ryan appeared at the door, drawn by the commotion. He took in the scene and started laughing. "Should we be worried?" he asked Celeste. "Probably," she said. "But it's sweet." Hannah emerged from the pantry holding syrup. "I tried to implement a system but was overruled by democracy. This is what chaos looks like. This is what family looks like," Celeste corrected. They ate the terrible pancakes together, all 14 squeezed around the farmhouse table. And Celeste thought about how 2 months ago, she was alone with 11 traumatized girls and no idea how to help them. "What are we doing today?" Madison asked. "The greenhouse needs tending," Ryan said. "And I thought maybe we could start working on the stables. Think about bringing the horses back." Excited chatter erupted. "But first," Celeste said, "let's clean this kitchen. All of us. Together." There were groans, but everyone helped. Because that's what family did. The messy work along with the joy. "You're smiling," Ryan observed. "I'm happy," Celeste said simply. "Yeah," Ryan said, his own smile matching hers. "Me too." From the living room came a shout. Another fight starting, inevitably. "I'll handle it," Ryan said. "We'll handle it," Celeste corrected. 3 months after Ryan and Hannah arrived, the Meadowbrook Farm Community Fair became the event that would change everything. Ryan had spent weeks organizing. A showcase where each girl could demonstrate the talents Hannah had helped to discover. The whole town was invited. The morning of the fair, the girls were electric with nervous energy. Emma's tomatoes, Sophia's story reading, Madison's horse care demonstrations, Ava's paintings. Each girl had something uniquely theirs. 18 minutes until the gates open, Hannah announced, clipboard in hand. "Everyone to your stations." Celeste found Ryan behind the barn adjusting his blue work shirt. "Nervous?" she asked, taking his hand. They'd been openly together for 2 months now. "Terrified," Ryan admitted. "What if nobody comes?" The gates opened. People came, more than Celeste had dared hope. Neighbors, parents, social worker Mrs. Harrison, even the principal from Ryan's old job. The fair was a triumph. Each girl shown as visitors praised their work. Then Celeste noticed 11-year-old Grace standing apart, staring at Ryan. "Grace? Sweetheart, what's wrong?" Grace's eyes filled with tears. "I know him. Mr. Ryan, the volunteer at Nashville Children's Home when I was little. He used to read to us every Thursday. He made us feel like we mattered." Celeste's heart stopped. Grace walked toward Ryan. "You probably don't remember me, but I remember you. You read me, Where the Wild Things Are 7 times in one night because I was scared. You said that even in wild places we can always find our way home." Ryan's face went pale. "Grace. Little Grace with the purple backpack. You wanted to be a veterinarian. You remember," Grace sobbed. "Of course I remember. You were special. That's why I volunteered, so kids like you knew they mattered." The crowd went quiet. "That was the same home where I was born," Hannah said suddenly. "Where Daddy met Mommy. We're all connected." Ryan turned to Celeste, emotions raw. "I volunteered there for 2 years. Thought if I couldn't adopt everyone, at least I could show up. You gave me hope," Grace said. "And now we're home. Together." Celeste couldn't speak through her emotion. The symmetry of it all. Ryan volunteering where Grace lived, where Hannah was born, where so many threads led to this farm. Mrs. Harrison approached with tears. In 20 years, I've never seen anything like this. They're not statistics, Hannah interrupted. It's destiny. Some families are chosen by biology, some by choice, and some by forces greater than we understand. We're the third kind. The fair continued, but word spread about the connection. The volunteer who showed up for forgotten children and years later became their family. That evening, all 14 gathered on the porch for a family meeting. Mia climbed into Celeste's lap. Are you and Ryan getting married now? Because of the destiny thing? Celeste and Ryan exchanged glances. Mia, we've talked about this, Celeste started. Marriage is… Actually, Ryan interrupted, then seemed to gather courage. He stood up, pulled something from his pocket, and knelt on the porch. Celeste's heart stopped. I didn't plan this, Ryan said. Was going to wait, do it right, with flowers and romance and privacy. But Mia's right. Destiny brought us together. And these girls deserve to see that love isn't always neat and planned. Sometimes it's messy and impulsive and happens on a porch full of people. He opened a small box. Inside was a simple silver ring with a small diamond. Nothing expensive or flashy, but beautiful in its honesty. Celeste Davenport. 3 months ago I came here desperate for a job. I found purpose, a family, a reason to believe in miracles. I found you. Will you marry me? 11 girls held their breath. Hannah smiled knowingly. And Celeste, CEO of a farm empire, woman who had built walls around her heart after her father's death, who thought she'd be alone forever in her big empty house. Celeste said the easiest word she'd ever spoken. Yes. The porch erupted in celebration. Girls jumped and hugged and cried happy tears. Ryan slipped the ring on Celeste's finger with hands that trembled slightly, then kissed her while their daughters cheered louder. I knew it, Mia shouted. I'm definitely going to be a bridesmaid. We all are. Multiple voices agreed. Can I be maid of honor? Hannah asked. Technically, I'm going to be your stepdaughter, so there's precedent. Hannah, let them have their moment. Ryan laughed. But Celeste pulled Hannah into the embrace. You're not going to be my stepdaughter. You're going to be my daughter, just like all of them. Hannah's know-it-all composure cracked and she burst into tears. I wanted a mother so badly, she sobbed. I love Daddy, but I missed having a mom, and now I get 1 in 11 sisters, and this is the best day ever. Everyone joined in a massive group hug on the porch. 14 people tangled together. Later, after the girls were finally in bed, Celeste and Ryan sat on their porch. Their place, where so many important conversations had happened. I can't believe you proposed, Celeste said, admiring her ring in the moonlight. I can't believe I didn't plan it better, Ryan countered. That was perfect, Celeste said firmly, because it's us. Chaos and children and imperfect moments that somehow become perfect because we're together. They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the night sounds of their farm. In the distance, horses whinnied softly in the stables. From the greenhouse, the smell of growing things floated on the breeze. Inside the house, 13 girls slept safely. Ryan kissed her slow and sweet. To us, he agreed. From inside, they heard a small voice. They're being gross and kissy again, followed by giggles and shushing sounds. They're spying, Celeste observed. Of course they are, Ryan said. They're invested in this relationship. 12 matchmakers is a lot of pressure. 13, Celeste corrected. Hannah was the mastermind from day one. True, my evil genius daughter. More giggles from inside. We should probably go in, Celeste said without moving. Probably, Ryan agreed, also not moving. They stayed on the porch, engaged and happy, and surrounded by the life they'd built from broken pieces. Inside, 13 girls who'd been told they were too much, too difficult, too broken, slept peacefully knowing they were exactly enough. The farm that had been empty was full. The woman who had been lonely had love. The man who thought his story ended with tragedy found a new beginning. And 13 children who had been rejected by the world found acceptance in each other. It wasn't perfect. There would still be fights and challenges and hard days. Ready to go in? Ryan finally asked. Ready, Celeste said. They walked into their house together, hand in hand toward their family. Like and subscribe. For more stories like this, leave your rating for this story. Yes, thank you.